Hi guys, welcome to the first ever Serial Entrepreneur Series with CostSegKev. We are at the world famous Butch McGuire's downtown Chicago on Division Street. I'm with Dave Halligan, good personal friend of mine and client. All we do here is talk about Dave's background, how we met, how it was working with me, a lot more about Dave than myself. And here and there we have a bite of cereal. Pretty simple. I'm gonna get you started with some milk. First and foremost, we have a hilarious story of how we met. Do you want to start that off, or you want me to bleed into it? Whatever you think.
Yeah, no. A buddy of mine just randomly called me one day, and he's in PR, and we'll get into it a little bit more, but I used to be in wind farms, and my buddy who did PR for us said, I got this random call from this guy. Says he's looking for a wind farm so he can power some Bitcoin mining machines.
Yes.
Didn't know if this was like a real thing. And he's like, I think it's a scam. I think it's a total scam. His name's Kevin. It's like, I don't know, sounds legit.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I like reached out to you, and
Yeah.
you're like a legit guy.
There was one part. It was this guy, JT, we'll call him. We don't want to say his real name.
All right.
He's from China. He had a lot of money, buying up a lot of farms, doing a ton of Bitcoin mining. And so I threw that in with the PR guy. And that's why I think he thought, this is BS. This is BS. So the guy actually made me send him an email from my email, corporate email. Then he passed it to you.
He did, yeah.
And then David called me. We had a good talk. We were going to meet up.
But I was up in Canada with my folks, where I'm originally from. And Kevin's explaining all this stuff, and well, where are you? I'm in downtown Chicago. What? I live in downtown Chicago.
Yeah, it worked out super well.
It worked out perfectly.
It worked out super well. Then we met. I mean, again, there's no real agenda. Do you want to talk about a little about your background, or
Sure, like I said, I'm
renewables?
Originally from Canada. Like any Canadian kid, wanted to grow up to be Wayne Gretzky. That didn't happen. And since that didn't happen, I'm like, well, okay, what else do I want to be? I wanted to either be in Led Zeppelin, I wanted to be like a Bruce Lee MMA type fighter.
So far, me too.
Yeah. Or I wanted to be an accountant.
Ooh.
And yeah, so I ended up as an accountant. And joined an accounting firm, and the partner of the firm said, son, why do you want to be an accountant? I'm like, to meet girls.
Yeah, right.
Well, that didn't work out. But spent many years in sort of corporate life. Got fired many times and realized that corporate life really wasn't for me. And then I realized that my, I guess, true passion in life was to do deals, to be on my own, work with good people like you.
Thank you.
And here we are today.
Yeah. Good background and all that stuff. When we spoke, I know you're not anymore, but you were a long time in renewables, pretty large company. You want to talk about that for a bit?
Yeah. Like I said, I was more of a finance guy, accounting and more corporate type jobs. And like a lot of people, you just kind of find yourself in taking a job. I just happened to start in power development, and then I found myself with a renewable energy company. Now, it wasn't a passion of mine to be in wind farms or hydro projects. Is what we were doing probably 20 plus years ago.
I was just going to ask how long ago, because now it's the hot topic, but you were doing it.
Yeah, this is 20 plus years ago when there wasn't as many like wind turbines around and those types of things. And so I just took a job, and once you get into sort of an industry, then you just kind of get into the tracks and you start following that. But I took a legitimate interest in the business, more from like the deal side and how the deals are done, and because each can be very unique, and that's what I found sort of interesting about it. So I worked with a couple different firms and then worked my way up and eventually became the CEO of a wind turbine technology company that was actually headquartered in China. I was there 8 years here in Chicago, and that was a great experience. And now, obviously, over time, renewable energy, wind, solar, all these things have just been progressing even further. And now it's a major part of our energy mix.
That's awesome, Dave. You want to go into a little bit about Datawatt Energy? It's your company now, how long it's been around, some cool projects you're working on, or what you're working on.
Right. So having worked in corporate life for many years, still have a passion for or an interest in the types of deals that are done in renewable energy, and understanding that it's going to continue to grow for the foreseeable future because this country and the world in general needs energy. Maybe it's more a philosophical thing in terms of how I approach life. Maybe just a quick backstory.
Sure.
When I was probably 25 years ago, I was engaged to be married at the time, and 2 months before my wife and I were to be married, she was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer.
Oh, God.
So not to turn everything heavy, but it kind of, you live long enough, you go through you experience some things which sort of set you on a course and how you want to approach the rest of your life. And fortunately, for me, it was able to sort of frame the rest of my life because I realized that life is short. So you want to work with people you like.
Thank you.
You want to do things that are interesting. And in some ways, if you're doing things with people you like and you're doing things that are interesting, the money will follow.
Sure.
And so that's what I've come to realize. And that's the way I want to spend the rest of my life, is doing good things with good people. But to that point, realizing that corporate life maybe wasn't the right thing for me, and I'm willing to take certain risks. We formed Datawatt Energy about 6 years ago with the purpose of sort of bringing renewable energy projects to everyday people. We wanted to create an investment platform that people could invest in these types of projects. We also wanted to develop these projects for ourselves. And then maybe even for the last couple years, we realized that there's a huge appetite for power from data centers, and that we realized that our expertise aligns with developing sites for data centers, and we're working on that with you.
Yes.
And so we've kind of packaged this all together. Again, it's about doing very interesting things. We think this is going to be the foreseeable future. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, David, you educated me. The power generation's a big deal, and then you need the off-takers,
You need both.
What's now with the AI, you can't generate enough power, I wish we could, but you can't.
Yeah.
It's always going to be a huge need.
We ended up working with, I got connected with a coal mining group in southern Illinois.
Sweet.
Great bunch of people, very successful at what they're doing. And they came to me and they said, hey, look, we're getting all these folks knocking on our doors. They want to put solar panels on our vast amounts of coal mines. Is this a good idea? Should we do this? Should we lease our lands to these people? I'm like, yeah, let's talk about that.
Listen to me.
So we said, hey, well, you guys have some cash? And they're like, yeah, of course we do. Well, why don't we co-develop the projects together? You can get a lease out of it, but you also get ownership in these projects, and we'll tee these things up. As we speak today, we're in the process of actually selling these things, and these were about 4 years in the making. And the coal mining company, the principals of the coal mining company are probably going to realize about $1 billion in value.
Come on.
Off leases.
In a 4-year span?
In a 4-year span.
Because
they're going to realize this over the life of these projects. They got these leases.
Sure.
probably make about 800 million in lease payments,
yeah.
and then about 250 million in fees off of selling these projects too.
And that's because when you approach them, they put some skin in the game, so they have equity.
They put the skin
Majority?
in
Or they put
we
all?
put in the expertise, they put in the cash, and they put in the land. And eventually, these things are the way there's tax incentives for these things, and we'll need cost segregation studies done.
Yeah.
So eventually, we'll be talking about that.
Sure. Yeah. That's another thing too. Pretty in depth with cost seg studies for solar fields and things of that nature. Not a lot of firms out there do those, so good thing we connected, and we'll kick butt on those for you too.
We're developing what will eventually be probably $7 to $8 billion worth of solar and battery storage projects in southern Illinois on all these coal lands.
7 to 8 billion
7 to 8 billion
in Illinois.
in southern Illinois, and then thinking about who we're going to have to sell all this power to, we realize that these big tech companies are developing data centers, building data centers and they need power. And if you're setting up a data center in Illinois, wouldn't you want to take solar power from a coal mine in Illinois? Great story. And thinking about that, we realized that, well, we could identify some properties that would be perfect for developing data centers.
Right.
And that's when I approached you.
Sure.
I said, hey, I secured some properties. Let's see if we can raise the capital for these properties, develop them, and then eventually they probably get sold off to big hyperscale
Right.
companies that hopefully will buy the power from our solar projects in southern Illinois.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exciting. I'm glad you reached out to me too. One thing I like to do is not just be the cost sig guy for my clients. It's kind of weave in more to what are you doing? Like you said, it's fun to do interesting things, and kind of passion things, and then the money will follow. So Dave and I are entangled on a couple sites where we're trying to get entitled for data centers and partner in that respect. So I'm excited about that, especially after these numbers. I didn't know the numbers you're talking about are that big. So thank you for the invite there.
Yeah. But you're always great too. You have a great Rolodex of clients who are great people themselves.
Sure.
And so through Kevin, been very fortunate to meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
And just great people getting together to try and make some stuff happen.
For sure. People like interesting stuff too, especially now. Real estate's great, but certain deals aren't penciling out, and so it's good to have an alternative asset class. One with no tenants or toilets or any of that, right? The 3 T's.
Yeah. In my view, the sort of the direction of the way the world is going, the 2 most important commodities going forward, 2 most valuable commodities are going to be compute power and electricity.
Yeah.
And that's right in our sweet spot because we develop renewable energy projects. We're actually moving into developing natural gas-fired plants.
Sweet.
Because you need that type of level of energy. So pairing together energy plus the data.
Yeah.
And we are developing not only these big projects that I had mentioned earlier, but we also develop sort of localized, smaller solar projects. And these types of projects need capital every day. Mm-hmm. They have tax benefits that people can realize. So people can invest in these projects, not only get the pop off the project itself, but they can get some tax credits.
Sweet.
And quite frankly, that's where we need cost segs done,
right,
to help assess the value of the project and for the tax credit purposes.
That's good. I had a question. Everyone talks about the grid. Our grid's weak and all that. So you generating more power, does that all hurt the grid? Is it, you know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah. Well,
we need the power.
Well, we live in the Chicago area, so right, we don't want to go and develop all these massive data centers and it's August and 100 degrees out and our lights are going woo 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 because
exactly, like California.
Yeah, exactly.
Brown out.
So yeah, the electric companies are
and the utilities are making sure that the grid is stable. So you don't just overload it with a bunch of wind farms and solar projects that are turning on and off with the sun and the wind. So you need nice base level of power, and you need reliability for people to make sure that they can turn on their air conditioners when it's hot in the summer.
From an education standpoint, then, like here in Chicago, it's ComEd, or who's south? Ameren.
Ameren.
So you want to do a big solar project? I imagine they got to come out and they either say, "Hey, this is good," or "You're going to screw everyone over," or do they do any testing?
So we take care of all of that. Actually, we work with, like I was saying before, with this coal mining group. They're a landowner, and they wanted to realize how they can benefit or monetize their lands the best way possible. And that's basically what we do. We work with landowners to help them monetize their properties, either through a solar project or, in some cases, a data center. But we handle all of the interaction with whether it's ComEd or Ameren here in Illinois. We're geographic agnostic, so we'll work anywhere in the country.
So that was a question too, just to not to jump on you, but are there any states that this is no good? I imagine Illinois is pretty friendly with all this stuff.
Illinois is super friendly for renewables, and they have state incentives for solar. They're gonna actually pass some legislation for state incentives for battery storage.
Okay.
So maybe you've got a small industrial property. It might be a good spot to locate a battery project.
Sure.
And that
I think we talked about a couple of those, didn't we?
Yeah.
I do have a good client for that after. He lives by me in Downers, actually.
Yeah. So I mean that's going to be developing pretty quickly.
Okay.
And so for any of your clients out there that have industrial properties, can't put hotel or residential, could be a good spot for batteries.
Got it.
Doesn't have to be a big property.
Cool. Any states? Are you in any other states? We talk about Illinois a lot.
Yeah.
Where else are you at?
We're looking at Wyoming, Arizona, Missouri, Ohio,
Missouri,
North Dakota.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't matter really about the state, but state by state, they have different programs for renewable energy. So sometimes solar doesn't make sense at a small scale.
Yeah.
Say in Indiana, it doesn't really work that great, but you can do big projects. But Illinois, more the blue states seem to have more favorable policies around renewable energy. Mm-hmm. So New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island.
New York's a good one.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. The solar tax credits is great to bring up. The states. I didn't know that about the states too, so that's really good. Just out of curiosity, because I know we talk a lot about this, but in Illinois, we were talking about it with Ryan, another client who may invest with Dave, but we were talking about the nuclear plants. And they're basically all shut down, right, or no?
No,
But they would be a great option, but you can't mess with that, right? Or you can, I don't know. I forget.
Maybe if you're Amazon or Google, you could try to figure out how to work with a nuclear plant.
But they're off limits for now.
Generally the utilities want to use those because they're such a huge source of power to ensure that our lights are on.
Sure. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I figured I'd bring that up.
And of course, you hear maybe in the news a lot of people talking about small nuclear plants, and is that going to be a solution? Maybe in 20 years.
Sure.
25 years. I don't know.
Yeah. Right.
But probably not in the immediate future.
Got it. Okay. And then, you know what, too? I had a question. It's good for other, if we get any other viewers who are developers and things like that. You got a quote for some of your solar fields from a big group, one of the largest in the United States, and the fees were pretty substantial, right? And that's when you brought it to me. Do you want to talk about that at all without using names? You can't use names. What was the fees?
That we're gonna make.
The one fee for the cost seg on the solar. Remember you brought it to me. You said, "Dude, look at this." Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yes. So all of these projects probably require CostSeg.
Yeah.
Because of the tax credits, you need to value the property, and you need to itemize or categorize the cost for depreciation purposes. And
Sure.
You know this stuff probably better than I do.
Well, yeah, that's why. that's why we partner. Yeah.
And so we went to. We had a number of solar projects that we needed cost segs for, and we went to one of the big firms to get a quote.
Yeah.
To do that work, and staggering, it was like over $1 million.
It was over $1 million. Yeah.
Over $1 million.
Yeah.
And then so I said, Kev, you need to
look at this.
You need to take a look at this.
Yes. We came in sub 500K, but still a fee. You got to cross your T's, dot the I's, and all that. But I'm glad you did bring it that way.
No, it's a super valuable service, and
sure,
it's needed. Absolutely.
On the other groups, to give them some credit, they got a ton of overhead. We don't have that much overhead. So.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
The great thing about working with Kevin, not only is he super knowledgeable, like gives great advice about cost seg, because I'm not an expert. I can trust what he's saying, and not only that, because he brings huge value in the services, and he's able to open up his network for other business deals that we're working on. So it's not just cost segs. It's he's just a general business partner. I had a little bit of knowledge about cost seg, but he's the subject matter expert. The real estate guys, and I'm not a real estate guy, they probably understand cost segs and how important it is to their business. But I'm a power and renewable energy guy, and some of us we don't realize that we need that type of service. I mean, I knew a little bit about cost seg. Kevin is obviously the expert, but I don't come from a real estate background. I come from a renewable energy background, and a lot of the other renewable energy folks aren't familiar with what cost segs are. So there's a huge opportunity there. Everybody's doing a lot of solar projects these days. All need cost segs, so they should go to Kevin.
Thank you. And I like what David mentioned on the last thing. So the way I differentiate myself, it's not just cost segs, right? We'll do the cost segs, we'll kick ass, it'll be great. It's what else do you need? The name of the game now, I think CPAs and accountants are finding it out, is what else can you do for me type of thing. So, we've done well with capital connections and things, and so I'm always open to doing that. I don't shotgun blast stuff out, so when I bring clients a new opportunity, it's not the 10th one I brought them that month. It might be the first one I brought them in 3 years. And it's stuff I get excited about too. So it's good to be in business with you. And thanks for being the first ever serial entrepreneur podcast, if you will, sketch, whatever. And what time is it? Why don't you guys tell me the time? 10:48. We'll have a beer?
Yeah.
Let's do it, buddy. We're at Butch's. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you on the next one. And thanks for being a guest and a buddy.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
My pleasure.
See ya.